Welcome. Thank you for joining us on this journey around motivational interviewing. This project is a passion of everyone involved. It is intended to support the spirit and principles of motivational interviewing. Its purpose is to assist first responders with access to quality, free training supported by SAMHSA to improve interpersonal interactions and patient outcomes. While the persons involved have all received training in motivational interviewing, they are not MIT certified instructors. These videos are intended to be an introduction to motivational interviewing and do not independently serve as a complete training in motivational interviewing, nor will they independently allow individuals to practice motivational interviewing in a professional capacity. If you're interested in adopting motivational interviewing as a core part of your professional practice, we strongly encourage you to seek out an accredited class offered by a MIT certified instructor. Please look at the materials with this video series to find a link to the MIT website. Our team welcomes any constructive feedback on how we can better adapt the core concepts of motivational interviewing as a tool for first responders. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the work you do in the communities you serve. Hello, and welcome. My name is James McLaughlin. My friends affectionately refer to me as Tiny. I am a community paramedic with Ute Pass Regional Health Service District in Colorado. I have been in EMS for nearly 30 years, and I've been a community paramedic for nearly 10. Today, we are going to discuss new conversational strategies that improve first responder communications across many spectrums. This concept is called motivational interviewing, or MI. It's a powerful tool in our journey to provide patient-centered care. Motivational interviewing is an empathetic, person-centered approach to supporting others when and where they need it. It prepares people for change by helping them resolve ambivalence, enhance intrinsic motivation, and build confidence. The first challenge to understanding motivational interviewing is reflecting on the fact that change is hard. Let me say that again. Change is hard. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause this video and reflect on a time when you had to make a behavioral change in your own life. It could be something like getting up early or making your bed every morning. It could be something a little bit harder, like stopping a harmful habit, such as smoking, drinking, gambling, or watching pornography. It could be an interaction with another person, such as improving communication skills, or spending more time with your family. Once you have your thing, once you have the thing that you changed, I want you to write down 3 things you remember about your change. What was challenging or uncomfortable about your change? How did you feel about it and your ability to change before making the change, while you were making the change, and then after the change? Why did you make the change in the first place? Now pause the video and come back when you have answered these questions. Welcome back, and thank you for taking the time to complete this exercise. Now what I want you to do is reflect on your change experience. We're going to break down the motivational interviewing core concepts over the next several minutes. I want you to reflect on these concepts as you review and think about your change. These concepts are: 1. Empathy. Understanding and sharing the feelings of another. In motivational interviewing, it's about truly listening to our patients, respecting their autonomy for their own perspective, and expressing that understanding back to them. 2. Ambivalence. Accepting that mixed feelings or contradictory attitudes towards change are a natural part of the change process and is an important step towards resolution. 3. Intrinsic motivation. This is the personal drive to change, coming from within the individual rather than external pressures that attempt to force change. Motivational interviewing aims to tap into these sources of motivation. Forced change breeds resistance and stimulates defensive mechanisms. 4. Confidence. Motivational interviewing seeks to build the belief in one's ability to change, reinforcing that the patient has the strength to change intrinsically within themselves. Now, let's reflect on your own experience with change and answer the following questions. What role did these concepts of empathy, ambivalence, intrinsic motivation, and confidence play in your change experience? How are these concepts of empathy, ambivalence, intrinsic motivation, and confidence so crucial for us as first responders? Every day, as providers, we must meet individuals facing challenges that need more than just immediate medical attention. Can you see how a compassionate approach supports lasting change for that individual? Through motivational interviewing, we can engage more effectively with our patients, understanding their needs, and we can guide them towards healthier choices. It's not just about saving lives in the moment. It's about empowering the patient to enhance their own quality of life long term. Think of a frustrating encounter you had with a patient or a member of the community who was struggling with the need for change. How would the concepts of empathy, ambivalence, intrinsic motivation, and confidence have changed your interaction with them? I'm not saying that motivational interviewing is the only answer in every human contact or in every situation, but in many situations, it can be and should be part of the solution. So, whether you're on the front lines as an EMS provider, law enforcement officer, public service access point dispatcher, or you're pioneering the expanding field of mobile integrated healthcare to include community paramedicine, understanding and applying motivational interviewing can transform your interactions and outcomes when serving our communities. Please join us as together we explore how to weave the principles and practices of motivational interviewing into the important work we all do Together, we'll learn how to empower our patients and ourselves to embrace change positively and effectively, even when it's hard, but especially when it's hard. As we take this journey, I encourage you to be introspective and reflect on your own feelings about what you are learning. You should pause the video after each section and ask yourself the following questions. How do I feel about these concepts, lessons, and ideas? It's only in understanding how we feel about something that we can look at our own biases and our own challenges and our own difficulties in applying these practices and seek to overcome them. Ask yourself about a time when you could have applied each of the concepts learned during an encounter with another person. How would it have impacted the outcome? Motivational interviewing is about cultivating a meaningful relationship with others. This can only be accomplished when genuine trust is developed as a core tenet of establishing rapport. That means the skills should be applied from a desire to be of service to others. You're already there. If you weren't, you wouldn't be in this field. Learning and practicing motivational interviewing skills is an intensive process. Like any other skill set, mastering these skills takes discipline, intentionality, and meaningful practice. Think back to when you were learning to be a first responder. It took many attempts to become proficient at things like patient assessment, splinting, or performing evolutions, either on the fire side or law enforcement side. No doubt, over time, you became increasingly proficient at these skills. With experience, you began to practice many of these skills autonomically. You became able to do an assessment while talking to your patient or directing others to perform tasks. Each time you performed these skills, you got closer and closer to mastery. The same is true for motivational interviewing. You must seek out opportunities to apply these skills. Each time you use these skills, you become a bit better. You will better understand when and how to apply these skills until one day it just becomes part of how you interact with people and how you communicate. Before you start this training, please conduct a self-assessment. Make sure you're in a good mental space. If you're feeling suicidal, you're depressed, struggling with anxiety, or are actively engaging in self-harm or other destructive behaviors, this may not be the right time for you to embark in this training. Consider seeking professional help and return when you're in a better space. The concepts we discuss in these lessons may invoke strong emotional feelings. This is normal, and it's okay. Ensure you are practicing good self-care. We want to encourage effective emotional resiliency. If you are feeling overwhelmed at any time, take a break. If something we discuss is triggering, consider talking to a peer about it. If that does not help, please consider seeking professional consultation. If you start to have intrusive thoughts about suicide, or you feel like harming yourself or others, or become gravely emotionally disabled, please consider calling 988 and ask for support. By being here today, you have taken the first step towards integrating motivational interviewing as part of your patient care portfolio. On behalf of your employer, your community, and our industry, I genuinely thank you for your time. See you in the next video. Hello, and welcome back on our journey through motivational interviewing. At this point, it is crucial we grasp the 4 foundational principles that guide this transformational approach. Understanding these principles not only enhances our interactions, but also leads to meaningful change in the lives of those we serve. These 4 principles are expressing empathy, developing discrepancy, rolling with resistance, and supporting self-efficacy. First off, let's look at expressing empathy. Expressing empathy towards a participant shows acceptance and increases the chances of the participant developing a rapport with you as the provider. Acceptance enhances bilateral self-esteem and facilitates change. Skillful, reflective listening is fundamental. Ambivalence is absolutely a normal part of change. Change is uncomfortable. And to not want to put ourselves in a potentially uncomfortable situation over the short run is understandable. Ambivalence is natural. Empathy builds a trusting relationship where patients feel safe to open up and explore their ambivalence about change. Next, we have developing discrepancy. This is about helping the client see gaps between where they are and where they want to be, which is also known as cognitive dissonance. The key to developing discrepancy is recognizing conflict as a motivation to make change. Thinking back to your change example from the last lesson, what made you want to change? What made not changing seem so comfortable? How did you resolve the discrepancy between these 2 conflicting thoughts or ideas? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 indicates absolutely no desire to change, and 10 indicates an extreme desire to change, how important was it for you to make a change? What would have taken the number from what you selected to a higher number? By highlighting discrepancies and the desire for change, we're not telling the client what to do. We're helping them come to their own realization that change is necessary for achieving their goals. Now let's talk about rolling with resistance. Listen, resistance is a natural part of the change process. Instead of challenging a client's natural resistance, let's come alongside them and roll with that resistance. In the spirit of curiosity, we can acknowledge the patient's autonomy and avoid direct confrontation. This approach fosters respect and develops a rapport where resistance can diminish in a timeline that's set by the client. This is so important. They're the expert in their situation. They should be able to set the timeline. You can help them understand the importance. You can provide support, but they set the timeline. The final principle is supporting self-efficacy. This is about bolstering the client's belief in their ability to change. We're here to encourage and highlight their strengths, past successes, and the potential for future achievements. Once again, I would like you to think about your change example. How did your own beliefs about your ability to change impact your willingness to change? How does that experience impact your thoughts around making future changes? Self-efficacy is crucial for sustainable change. When you believe you can succeed, then you are more likely to take the steps to make lasting change. Together, these principles form the bedrock of motivational interviewing. By applying them, we not only support our clients in navigating their path to change, but also enhance our effectiveness as first responders. This is a powerful tool that helps us accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish by supporting clients, especially in their moments of crisis. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to pause the video, and I want you to think about a change you would like to make in your own life. Now, this could be eating better, getting more sleep, reducing your consumption of alcohol, or it could be something else completely. Once you have that change in mind, ask yourself how the concepts learned today impact your thoughts and ideas about change. Now, pause the video and return once you have reflected on this. And welcome back. Now that you have your target change identified, answer the following questions as it relates to your change. What role does empathy of others have on your feelings towards the need for this change? What makes you want to change? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 indicates not at all desiring to change and 10 indicates an extreme desire to change, how important is it for you to change? What would it take to get you from the number you selected to a higher number? How can you resolve the discrepancy between the comfort of staying where you are and the need for change? Also, I want you to think about why you selected the number that you selected. Would being forced to change make you more willing or less willing to be effective at making change? How do your past successes with change impact your beliefs and your ability to make these changes or this specific change? Remember, motivational interviewing is a collaborative partnership. It's about meeting our clients where they are and walking alongside them on their journey through change. Thanks for allowing me to join you and explore the principles of motivational interviewing. Next time, we'll dive into the core skills of motivational interviewing and how to apply them in your daily interactions with clients. I am really looking forward to this. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you soon. Welcome back. Today we're going to focus on the core skills of motivational interviewing. These are known as the OARs of motivational interviewing. OARs, O-A-R-S. These skills are the tools we use to navigate conversations, allowing our patients to safely open up and become more receptive to change. Let's explore each one of these skills and see how they empower both patients and you as a healthcare provider or first responder on the journey towards positive change. First, we're going to look at open-ended questions. These are questions that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. They encourage patients to share more about their experiences, feelings, concerns, and challenges. Now let's spend a few minutes reviewing this concept in practice and see how we can apply open-ended questions in our everyday practices. Now, we're going to start by considering a client who is struggling with alcohol use disorder. A first responder may have historically asked this person, "How many drinks do you have at a typical day?" Or, "Are you an alcoholic?" Instead, I would encourage you to consider asking a question like this. Can you tell me about your relationship with alcohol? Now consider the two types of questions. I think we can understand that the first one could put someone on the defensive and cause them to withdraw from the conversation, whereas the second one solicits a meaningful answer from the client and makes them feel like you actually care and you want to hear the challenges that they're going through. Next, we're going to look at clients struggling with substance use disorder. Historically, a first responder might have asked a question such as, "Have you been in trouble for using drugs before?" When you ask a question in that nature, you can actually create stigma, negative stigma, around substance use disorder. It's important for us to check our own biases. It's important for us to understand that substance use disorder is a medical condition like any other medical condition. And the way we ask the question can convey how we feel about substance use disorder. And if we ask the question in an accusatory manner, that stimulates negative stigma across the community. And it tells persons experiencing substance use disorder that myself as a provider, myself as a first responder, my organization that I work for, my community that I represent, my culture of first responders in the community believes that substance use disorder could potentially be a moral failing and not a medical condition. And we just simply know from evidence now that that's not true. It's a medical condition no different than cancer, no different than heart disease. And if we treat it the same, if we treat it effectively like a medical condition, we stand a much greater chance for having success. So I would encourage you to ask the question in a different manner. Consider asking the question this way. What challenges have you had related to your substance use disorder? Asking the question this way allows us to come alongside the client and learn with them. It accepts their autonomy and it acknowledges that they are the expert in their current situation and that we're there to support them. When working through behavioral challenges, we should avoid questions like, are your family and friends afraid of you because of your violent behaviors? And instead, we could consider asking the question using less judgmental language. How has your anger or aggression impacted your relationship with your friends and your family? I genuinely want to know. Because once we start a conversation, once I ask them a question that can't be answered with a simple yes or a simple no, I can use my non-verbal skills to show them that I'm hearing what they say. And that is so important. As a provider, we want to stay away from aggressive statements like, do you want to lose your job for not showing up when you're supposed to be at work? And instead, guide them to draw out possible consequences on their own, such as, how is your job performance impacted by the number of times you've been late or been forced to call off? So another great way to form an open-ended question is to start with this catchphrase. Can you please tell me more about? And then go in with an inquisitive mindset about what you want to learn more about. Open-ended questions invite exploration, giving the client a safe space for deeper reflection into their own cognitive dissonance or discrepancies. These questions should be free of accusations and blame. I understand that this is not always easy. We have to check our own biases. If we fail to do so, then we fail to be genuine. And if we fail to be genuine, the client will see. Next, let's talk about affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that recognize a client's strengths and efforts. Remember, change is hard. We all like to be recognized for the hard work that we do. If somebody is taking steps towards addressing a challenge or a concern, the best thing we can do is help recharge their internal batteries by letting them know that we see the work that they're putting in, and this helps them remember the hard work that they've done to get to where they're at. Affirmations build confidence and support a client's belief in their own ability to accomplish change. Examples of affirmations include, it must have been really hard to share with me today. I am glad you trusted me enough to do so. Thank you. You have set a good example for others by reaching out for help today. It has been a while since you have had to call. You must be taking some real positive steps in addressing your challenges. Do you see how those affirmations build on small successes? And when we reinforce those small successes, it empowers the client to reach for ever greater opportunities for change. Affirmations are powerful. They validate the client's struggles and their achievements. This fosters a supportive atmosphere, and it develops and it solidifies rapport. We can't influence change in a person's life until we have rapport. These must be genuine affirmations. False affirmations harm the development of rapport and damage the client's self-esteem. People smell BS. If you can't say it honestly and truthfully, then don't say it at all. Because if you try to fake it, they're gonna know. Reflective listening is our third skill. And it's about truly hearing what the client says and reflecting it back to them, showing that we understand and empathize with their situation. This is so important because it has two different positive aspects related to it. The first one is it allows a potentially marginalized person to know that someone in your position cared enough to listen to what they said, and to understand what they said. The second one is it helps ensure that we understood what they said and that we didn't misunderstand what they said. So often in communications, one person is talking and the message that is received isn't exactly what the other person meant to say. When we repeat or paraphrase a statement back to the other individual, we can confirm that what we think we heard is what we actually heard. This makes for profoundly more effective communications. Examples of reflections include, so your kids are very important to you, and you feel your substance use is harming your relationship with them. So what we've done is we've taken what the client has told us over the last several minutes and we've paraphrased it and made sure that we heard what they said. Another example, based on what you've told me, you feel your drinking has endangered the people you work with, and you would like to do things differently moving forward. This is a very powerful reflection because not only does it let the client know that you heard what they said, but it also engages early signs of change behavior. They have a desire to do something different. They have stated where they are and where that gap is between where they are and where they want to be. We can work with that. Another example, what I hear you saying is that if you make some small changes in regards to your health, you might have more energy and be able to accomplish what you would like to do. Again, very powerful. They're tying their behavior into their desires and how changing their behavior can help them accomplish their desires. And by rephrasing, reshaping, and helping them see that, you're reinforcing what they've already told you. Reflective listening builds trust and shows the client they were heard and ensures you truly understood what they said. It is not repeating what they said. We are not birds that are just repeating what was said. We are actually showing the client that we heard what they were saying and we think we understand the meaning. And this gives the client an opportunity to correct any misconceptions we might have had, or to reaffirm that yes, what we heard is what they meant to say. Effective reflections require active listening, which means listening to understand the person and to understand what they are telling you without thinking about how you're going to respond. This is sometimes difficult to do. Make sure that when a client is talking, you're in the moment with them. You're taking the time to look at their body language. You're taking the time to look at their facial reflections. You're listening to the inflections in their voice. And you're trying to truly understand not only what's coming from their mouth, but what's coming from their heart. That is when you will truly be able to understand what a person is conveying to you. This is such an important piece to developing a rapport with a patient or a client. Now, you will not always get it right, but that's okay. You know what? Actually, it's better than okay. Because getting it wrong affords the client an opportunity to be empowered. It gives them a chance to tell you, you know what, no, that's not what I meant. It empowers them to stand up and say, no, what I actually meant was. Or, no, you didn't get it right. Could you try again? And then that affords you the opportunity to have a second chance. You know what? When you get it wrong, apologize and ask the patient to restate the thought or idea. Then attempt the reflection again. The last thing we're going to look at today is summaries. This skill involves pulling together many of the reflections in one main idea, reflecting back the key points and ensuring you understood what the patient was attempting to convey. Remember, when people are under stress or they're in crisis, they may say things and not fully understand their thought, idea, or concept on their own. Reflecting the different ideas that they've brought together in the conversation can help them see points that they were missing. This is very, very powerful. Summaries help to clarify and focus the discussion. It sets the stage for moving forward beyond ambivalence towards making long-term meaningful change. Practicing the ORs helps each of us improve these skills. In a moment, I will ask you to pause the video and find a partner to practice the ORs. Spend 5 minutes actively listening to them share concerns or issues they have. Start by asking them open-ended questions about a challenge or an issue they might be willing to discuss with you. Make sure you affirm their willingness to be vulnerable in this moment with you. That is a real sign of trust. Please acknowledge that. After each idea they share, try to verbally reflect on the idea they shared to ensure you understood what they were saying. End the session with a summary, including the main points and how they feel about these issues. Please pause the video now and practice. And welcome back. How did that go? What was easy for you? What should you keep working on? Did you try to give advice or fix a problem? As caregivers and first responders, it is very natural for us to want to fix a person or solve a problem. But remember, at this stage, it is about developing rapport. When we try to give advice while we should be listening, we take our eyes off the ball. This can leave a person feeling unheard, unappreciated, or misunderstood. We must avoid the fixing reflex that exists in all of us. The goal here is to empower the patient through intrinsic motivation, which is far more powerful than telling them extrinsically how they should fix their problem. I would like you to pause the video now and watch the video. It's not about the nail. Welcome back. Man, that is a really powerful video, isn't it? Just remember, by leveraging the oars of motivational interviewing, you equip yourself with a versatile toolkit for guiding conversations in a way that motivates and empowers others. These skills are the essence of motivational interviewing and can transform your interactions with patients, leading to a meaningful and lasting change. The OR skills are the hardest to master, but the most important part of motivational interviewing. Purposeful practice over time will prevent poor performance. At the end of the day, it is about being there with the person. Utilizing the oars, even if you have not mastered the skill, will show the client you care. Over time, you will see how even small adjustments in your approach can have big impacts on your client's journey towards health and wellness. Thank you for allowing our team to join you today. Next time, we're going to look at practical examples of how to apply these skills in real-world scenarios. Until then, good luck and good health. Thank you. Now that we've explored the what and how of motivational interviewing, let's see it in practice. Join me now as we delve into first responder world, showing how motivational interviewing transforms high-risk human contacts and interpersonal connections. This could include patient care interactions, law enforcement engagements with members of the community, and difficult conversations between a leader and a member of an organization. Motivational interviewing isn't just theoretical practice. It's a practical approach that guides our everyday interactions with members of our community. Imagine visiting a client who has been struggling to manage their diabetes. This is where motivational interviewing shines. This is the birthplace of motivational interviewing. Using the oars, we are going to provide examples of questions you can ask or statements you can make to a client struggling to manage their diabetes. Remember, they are the expert in their diabetes. They may not be an expert in the physiological manifestations of their diabetes, but no one knows what it means to live with their disease process better than them. Respect that autonomy. Appreciate what it means for them and be there with them in that moment so you can more closely understand the challenges, the risks, and the opportunities that lie before them. With that said, here we go with the questions. The first question is, how do you feel about your current health situation? Asking this question gives you the opportunity to express empathy and engage in reflective listening activities. And this validates their feelings and acknowledges that they have challenges that you don't understand. And they have expertise that you appreciate. The next question for the patient might be, it sounds like it's been really challenging for you to keep up with your diabetes management. By acknowledging their struggle, we're building rapport and trust. Now, let's talk about affirmations. An affirmation statement might be, I see you've made some efforts to change your diet. That's a really good step forward. Affirmations like these boost confidence. But what about resistance? Say the patient is hesitant about exercise, for example. You could say something like, it's understandable that finding time to exercise feels overwhelming right now. We acknowledge in this statement the resistance without pushing. This creates space for more open dialogue. It tells them that you appreciate the challenge that's set before them and opens up that space for them to talk more about that challenge. And when they talk about that challenge, that helps them start to see the challenge in a more meaningful way. And that's great. Because sometimes when we talk about challenges, or when we talk about fears, or we talk about expectations, they're not really as dark and as onerous as we think they are when we keep them locked up inside. Exposing these fears and these challenges and these risks and these concerns to light so often allows the client to see the true fallacy that exists in them. Another statement you can make. So we've talked about your challenges with diet and exercise. And you've shared some steps you're willing to try. This is a summarizing statement. Summarizing ensures we're both on the same page, and it sets the stage for collaborative goal setting. So looking at that statement again, let's break it down. So, we've talked about your challenges with diet and exercise. So this tells the client that you've heard what they've said about diet and exercise. We understand that the topic is diet and exercise. Now let's go to the second part. You've shared some steps you're willing to try. You're acknowledging that the client sees a need for change and they're willing to take some steps. By thinking about this, the patient, the client, is modeling what we call change behavior. Change behavior is very important. When someone models change behavior, that helps them mentally prepare for engaging in the change because it means they're actively thinking about the change. Summarizing the fact that they're doing that helps them see the power of their own thoughts and ideas. These simulated interactions are just a few examples. The beauty of motivational interviewing lies in its flexibility and adaptability to each unique encounter with clients and the needs and the situations of that client. Whether it's helping a patient manage a chronic condition, supporting lifestyle change, or navigating complex healthcare decisions, motivational interviewing equips us all with the skills to guide our clients towards healthier, more productive lives, and it empowers them in meaningful ways. Remember, the goal is to empower change through compassionate care, and with motivational interviewing, we have the tools to make significant impact in the lives of others. Thank you for joining me in exploring motivational interviewing in practice. As you continue to use these skills, you'll not only see change in your clients, but also in how you approach care. Welcome back. Today we tackle a vital aspect of motivational interviewing, facing challenges and overcoming resistance. These moments can be tough, but they're also opportunities for growth, both for our patients and us as providers. Resistance is a natural part of change processes. It's not a barrier, but a signal that we need to adjust our approaches. One of the first challenges we encounter is that resistance from clients. It might manifest as skepticism, reluctance, or outright refusal to engage in the conversation about change. When you hear, "I can't do this," or "this won't work for me," remember, it's not a stop sign. It's a moment to listen more deeply, to understand the barriers they're facing. Rolling with resistance, one of motivational interviewing's core principles, teaches us not to push against it, but to move with it. Reflect back on what you're hearing, explore their concerns, and invite them to consider alternatives. Another challenge is building motivation. Sometimes our patients can't see the path forward. They might feel overwhelmed or even stuck where they're at. This is where developing discrepancy and supporting self-efficacy becomes crucial. Help them visualize the gap between their current state and their desired future. Highlight their strengths and past successes as evidence that change is not only possible for them, but they've accomplished it before. It's also important to navigate our own frustrations. Yes, we too can feel resistance, especially when progress seems slow. Remember, change is a journey, not a sprint. The client sets the timeline, and we walk alongside them through that process. So how do we overcome these challenges? It starts with self-reflection, understanding your reactions, practice patience, and always lead with empathy. Use the OR skills. Open-ended questions can be used to explore their feelings. Affirmations should be used to build their confidence. Reflective listening will show the client you understand and summarize to tie all of this together. And most importantly, foster a spirit of collaboration. Remind them and yourself that you're partners in a journey. Their success is your success. Facing challenges and overcoming resistance are part of our growth as a compassionate provider. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Thank you for walking through the challenges of motivational interviewing with me. Embrace these moments, for they are where real change begins. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep leading with your heart. Thank you. Welcome back. We have something rather special for this next section. We're going to delve into a delicate situation in which a community paramedic employs motivational interviewing techniques to navigate a mother's concerns about her child being evaluated by a community paramedic. Witness the power of empathy, open questions, and reflective listening as they work together to find a solution that respects the family's autonomy while ensuring the child's health, safety, and well-being. As you watch this, ask yourself, what questions would I ask? How would I show the mother my concern? How would I show the mother that I'm listening to her and I care about her thoughts and ideas? How would you express your appreciation for the family's autonomy while ensuring that the child receives all appropriate care and assessments to ensure their safety? I'll see you when it's over. Mrs. Anderson, thank you for joining me today. My name is James McLaughlin. I'm a community paramedic, and I was asked by the school to come and evaluate Oliver today regarding some behavioral challenges that he had. Can you tell me what you know?
Well, not very much. Again, I was the last person called, but there's no way that you're evaluating my son.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm sorry that that information didn't get to you sooner. That absolutely should have happened, and you have every right to be upset. As far as the evaluation goes, what are your concerns with that?
Well, this is something that we can deal with at home. We don't need to bring in other people.
Okay. I absolutely respect your desire for autonomy for your family, and I think that speaks volumes that you care enough about your family that you want to protect your son. So I think we should start with maybe explaining what happened today and why it was called out. Would that be okay?
That would be great. I still don't know.
Okay, fair enough. So let me tell you what I know. My understanding is that Oliver was in the cafeteria and he came up and asked for more food. And the cafeteria attendant told him that lunch was over and it was time to go back to class. And Oliver got very upset and started to scream and yell and used a lot of profanity and made some suicidal and homicidal statements in front of the staff. And that was very concerning for the teachers. Have you noticed any behavior like this with Oliver?
Well, he's been acting out a little bit more since we took away his gaming system.
Yeah, can you tell me more about that?
I don't know very much about these systems, but I walked by and overheard other kids talking to Oliver. They were using really bad language and being really mean to him. So we took it away, and he's been acting out a little bit since then.
Okay, so it sounds like you've noticed a change in Oliver's behavior since he's been playing video games, and an even further change in his behavior since you took the gaming system away. Is that correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I do have some additional questions for you. When you say the changes in his behavior, did you hear him make any suicidal or homicidal statements at all? And if so, can you talk more about that?
No, that's the first I've ever heard about that.
Okay, well, that must be really concerning for you to hear. What kinds of responses have you seen based on Oliver's behavior since you took the gaming system away from him?
Well, I think he's learned some of language that is not appropriate in our house. He definitely never heard it from us, but he's been using some profanity and definitely just acting out.
Okay. And again, that sounds very, very concerning. And it seems like as a parent, you are doing everything you can to help support Oliver right now. My job is to support you as a parent and make sure you have the resources you need. So in that vein, What would success look like for you in addressing the challenges that you're experiencing with Oliver?
I just want to take him home.
Okay.
We can deal with it there.
And that's what I ultimately want for you as well. I want to make sure that you and Oliver can go home together but I want to make sure that you're set up with all the resources you need to be successful at home long term. So what does long-term success look like as it relates to Oliver's behavior?
Well, I think I just want him to go back to the sweet kid that he was before, and not have all these outbursts and language.
So it sounds like you'd like some support with the outbursts and the behavior, and have a better understanding of where this behavior is coming from.
Yes, that sounds right.
And so I'm glad I can understand that, because that helps me understand how I can best support you. And that takes us back to the evaluation. That evaluation will help us as a team figure out what resources you as a family need and what resources we can bring to help support you and Oliver. Would you be willing to let me do that evaluation?
Well, sure, if I can sit in.
Okay. And I could understand why you'd want to be there. Generally, we don't have the parents in the room, and that's because this is a tough time for Oliver as well. And your feelings are obviously very important to him, and we want him to be able to feel free to say anything he needs to say during that evaluation. And your presence might make him be reluctant to share everything. So if it's okay with you, we'd like to go ahead and do that evaluation with him alone. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I guess I can understand, and I do want what's best for Oliver.
So, and that's what we want as well. So we'll go ahead and do that evaluation, and then I'll come back and you and I can talk some more. And then obviously we'll bring you in, because both you and Oliver need to be involved in this process. Your opinion does matter, and I want you to know that I'm going to be with you until we figure this out as a team. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Excellent. Do you have any other concerns, or are there any questions I can answer for you?
I don't think so. That sounds really good right now.
Awesome. Mrs. Anderson, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support, and I really appreciate your time. We're going to take our time and figure this out together.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Today, we present a unique dialogue that transcends typical workplace dynamics, featuring a conversation between a member of an organization and that organization's leader regarding a challenging policy change. This scenario illuminates the power and the flexibility of motivational interviewing within the professional realm, specifically focusing on how subordinates can effectively communicate concerns and seek solutions from their leaders. Witness the skillful application of motivational interviewing techniques as the member navigates the conversation, aiming to address the impacts of restricted overtime pay on the team's morale and financial well-being, all while fostering mutual respect and understanding. This can be a powerful tool towards ensuring stronger ties to a just culture. I hope you enjoy.
Hey Tim, how are you today?
Hey Ryan, good. How are you?
Good. You have a second to talk about the overtime policy?
Sure. Come on in.
Okay.
I've heard that there might be some concerns about it, so let's chat.
Okay.
Please, tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah, do you mind if I take some notes while we...
No, not at all. Please
Okay.
do. I'll be taking some too, so I know.
Okay.
I can keep my thoughts straight in my mind with it.
Perfect. So I guess let's start with, help me understand kind of your thought process and kind of how this policy went about.
Unfortunately, Ryan, it's all about the budget. It's all about the money coming in, the money going out. As you know, things didn't go like we hoped it would have gone last November. Put the budget together. Expenses are coming in a little bit higher than what I had anticipated. We had anticipated. Overtime seems to be going up. I had to make a cut, and that's where I chose to make the cut, was in the overtime budget.
I understand the budget concerns, and it's one thing actually I enjoy with this organization is that we always come up with solutions for the financial issues. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if there's maybe some opportunity with this policy to find some other financial, options.
Well, exactly. When I came up with this decision, there was probably a few things I hadn't considered. You obviously have been talking to the staff. What are you hearing from them? I mean, beyond your own personal perspective, what are you hearing? What do I need to hear?
Well, as you said, you consider the financial burden with these decisions, and that must be hard, right? But our staff has very similar things. The price of gas has gone up. The price of food has gone up. The cost of living, housing is insane in this area, and they're feeling it in their wallets as well. And a lot of our staff, they have to have overtime to even pay their bills. I know there's a couple of them that had vacations that were planned, and they had worked some overtime or were going to work some overtime shifts to pay for those vacations. And now they're going to have to consider canceling their vacations because they can't afford it.
Man, this is going to be a difficult balance. I'm sensing that this could really impact morale as well. What are your thoughts?
Right now it's pretty emotionally driven, just because of
Bet it is.
the restraints that they're having. But to kind of summarize it, I appreciate you understanding, or at least taking the time to look at their side as well. Because from the way I understand it is, yes, you have financial restraints with the organization and the budget, but you're open to hearing that they have financial restraints as well.
I am. So if I heard you correctly, this is going to hit our staff hard. Mm-hmm. The financial impacts on their personal lives and their plans and their budgets. Maybe I didn't quite give enough thought to that. Well, I've implemented it. Do you think I should suspend it at the moment and see if we can get more input on how to proceed forward? I mean, I can't make any promises I got to find money. I've got to find money somewhere, but I do want to hear what staff thinks, what you think, what the captains think. I want to hear and be able to consider your thoughts and your ideas. Maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe there's a few other things that we can do, achieve the same goal. But I guess I need to have some thoughts from you and the staff.
I would say we do have a scheduled team meeting on Monday. It is already pre-scheduled.
That's right.
I've heard from the staff that they are going to show up. So that's already a budgeted item. So I know it's not a very short, or a very long period of time till then. But that could be an opportunity that wouldn't cost anything extra.
That would be. So how does this sound? What if I send out a WhatsApp to everybody that I'll temporarily suspend my policy that I put out because maybe I made a mistake. If you we communicate with staff members as well. To come prepared to the team meeting. Their thoughts, their ideas. How can we achieve the goal of sustainability for the rest of this year until we get our next question out there? That makes sense? Would that work for you?
Yeah, I think so. What I hear saying is to put out a WhatsApp, to have them be prepared to come to the team meeting, so that we can address and hear their concerns.
Right.
And at the same point, we will temporarily suspend the policy until we get some further information.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks for coming in and
Absolutely.
thanks for coming in and telling me your thoughts. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time.
You bet. Thanks, Ryan.
Hey, David. I'm glad to see you're doing relatively okay after your accident. How are you feeling right now?
I'm alright. Just a bit shaken up. A stupid mistake.
What led up to the accident, if you don't mind me asking?
I just had a few drinks before deciding to ride. I thought I was fine, but obviously not.
Sounds like you didn't intend for things to go this way. Recognizing that is important.
Yeah, I didn't think I was really that affected. I've done this a few times without issues before, you know?
So it seems like the drinks have more of an effect on your riding than you anticipated. Have there been other times when drinking has led to decisions you later regretted?
A few, I guess. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, though.
Sounds like there's a pattern that's starting to emerge, where alcohol leads to choices that don't align with your well-being. How do you feel about that?
I haven't really thought about it like that. I mean, maybe it could be a problem.
So we've talked about how tonight's accident and other instances have shown how alcohol can unexpectedly impact your decisions. What steps do you think you could take to avoid similar situations happening in the future?
I'm not really sure. You know, I guess I can rethink my drinking a little bit, especially if I plan to do anything risky.
Reflecting on these habits is a great first step. There are resources and people who can help support you through this. I'm happy to share some of those resources with you on our way to the hospital.
Yeah, you know, you're not really the first person who's brought this up to me. Maybe you can tell me a few more things about these resources.
Great, let's talk about it.
We've now come to the end of our exploration of motivational interviewing, but the journey is just beginning for you. Together, we've uncovered the essence of motivational interviewing, its principles, the core skills of OARS, and how to navigate the challenges and resistance we face in our practice. Our journey through motivational interviewing has equipped us all with the tools to foster meaningful conversations, encourage positive change, and ultimately to enhance the lives of those we serve. But this isn't the end. It's the beginning of a greater commitment to compassionate care and customer-centered service. As first responders, you have the power to make a significant impact in the life of the people you serve. Remember, motivational interviewing is a skill as much as it is an art. It requires practice, patience, and dedication. Continue to hone your abilities. Reflect on your experiences and share your insights with your colleagues. If you're looking to deepen your understanding of motivational interviewing or to explore advanced techniques, numerous resources are available. Consider attending workshops, enrolling in motivational interviewing courses, or joining professional groups dedicated to motivational interviewing. Please, always stay curious, stay open-minded, and most importantly, stay committed to the principles of motivational interviewing in your daily interactions. I want to genuinely thank you for joining me on this journey. Your dedication to improving client outcomes and embracing the concepts of motivational interviewing is truly inspiring. Not only for you, for me, and for the people here today, but for your community and for our profession. Together, we can all make a difference. One conversation at a time, one engagement at a time, one interaction at a time. Keep striving for excellence. Keep making a difference with all the hard work that you do. Keep the spirit of motivational interviewing alive in your work and in your heart. Thank you, and good luck.